I was a student here from, 1955 to 1957. I graduated from Lee High School and came directly over here. And from the very beginning, it was a very positive experience. I had two professors here, Joe Gillen and Clarence Schultz, but they were such an influence on us. We never even think about going to one of their classes unprepared. And they're really the reason that I'm here. I then transferred to Sam Houston, where I got my bachelor's, and immediately got a job at Robert E. Lee High School. 4 years after I was a student there, I was a teacher there. I'm not sure that was too cool. But anyway, I taught there 3.5 years, and then one night I was home, and then Clarence Schultz called me, and I thought he was offering me a adjunct faculty's job. Realized he was offering me a full-time job. So he told me to go see Mr. Rundell the next morning. Mr. Rundell was the dean who really ran the college in my conference period. And I did, and I wasn't in his office 5 minutes before he slid a contract across the desk to me, which I immediately signed. Well, that had never happened before. No one had ever been hired out of the school district to teach at Lee College. I started in February in the spring semester of 1964.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something.
They were a little looser in those days than they are today. Dean Rundell, we loved Dean Rundell. He was a benevolent dictator. He would decide when you were going to teach, what you were going to teach. He would put up the mail. Well, it was very small. I can't remember the exact number of students we had, but it probably wasn't over 15 or 1,600. I knew everybody on campus, the faculty, the staff, so it was a very close-knit group. I taught everything in the world, particularly at the prison. In the summer of 1966, Mr. Rundell called me into his office. He also called in Bob Seal, who taught math, and Dale Adams, who taught English, and asked me if I wanted to teach a course at the prison. So we're starting this new program at the Texas Department of Corrections, it's called in. Would you be interested in teaching a course up there in the fall? What Dean Rundell was telling me is you are going to teach a course in the prison this fall. And it was kind of funny because when I went home and told my wife, she was not the least bit happy. She was absolutely convinced I would be murdered, that they'd find my body in a trash can or something. So we did that on Saturday, every Saturday. We were on the road, we wouldn't get home till late. I ended up teaching geography, Texas history, even a sociology class one time, marriage and the family. Mr. Rundell, I'm not qualified to teach that. He said, "You're married, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're qualified." Like I said, it was just a different world. And he was so successful that we immediately, the following fall, began to expand the program. And before it was over with, there were over 30 Lee College faculty members that were on the campus, were on the road every week, teaching at all those units in the Huntsville area, as well as Sugar Land, which is in the south. And the entire time I taught at the prison, 20 years, I met some of the most fascinating people I've ever met in my life. Absolutely fascinating people, made friends. We did not ask our inmate students why they were in there. And we also treated them with respect. We expected to be treated with respect as well, and we were. And I remember the first time I went up there that I addressed them as Mr. And I had one old inmate got emotional and cried because he had never been called anything but Old Fang, which is what the guards used to call him. You know, it's an experience I am so glad I had, because I got to see a world that most people don't get to see. Over at Lee College, we really didn't offer much for academically talented students. And so I had taken a course in the summer at the University of Texas called the Institute of Texas Studies. It was a 6-hour graduate course, and that kind of gave me the idea of a sort of international approach, or interdisciplinary, I should say, interdisciplinary approach. So we decided to propose to the administration that we have an interdisciplinary honors course called American Studies. And the students would get credit for American history, American literature, and government. I don't know how we got through that first year, and I don't know why the students came back. And we had no time to develop this course. We were just flying by the seat of our pants. Dr. Sasser, not too long after he had been here, decided that we needed to expand the honors program. Dr. Sasser sent out to the faculty inviting anyone to apply. I was the only one that applied. And so that was the beginning of my tenure as coordinator of the honors program. And you know, gradually we began to expand. The last couple of years, we have had an unusual run of successes. 2 years ago, the Lee College, these were papers from the human condition, won 2 of the 3 Dennis Bow Awards. That had never happened before. No school had ever won 2 of the 3 awards. This past year, we won 2 again. I might also mention that 2 years in a row, an honor student has received the very prestigious Jack Kent Cook Transfer Scholarship. So we're very proud of that. We call the last 2 years the years of awards. Oh, by far the most rewarding is to see my students' successes. I've just always been happy here with the students. I went into my regular history class and I said, you guys aren't going to believe this, but the only time I can relax is when I walk into this class. And that's true. I can walk into a classroom and the world disappears. What I hope I've accomplished is that they develop a passion for learning and reading and continue to grow intellectually. That's what I really hope, and I think in some cases I've accomplished that. One, two, three.
I would describe John as being a historian who has an encyclopedic knowledge of history.
He loves education, he loves his students.
I can just say that he's a great man.
He's been an incredible mentor.
He's as old as God.
John Britt is probably one of the kindest human beings I've ever met.
He's always friendly and he always has a joke for you.
He works tirelessly to get you scholarships and to get you into the school that you want to go to.
And he will do whatever it takes to get you wherever you want to be.
You know, he will, give you the shirt off his back.
And on top of that, he's the most humble man I've ever met.
John is never bragging about John. He's always bragging about us.
What I love about Professor Britt is that he sees a diamond in the rough. He doesn't see someone who's a failure.
He sees in you what you either forgot you had or what you didn't even know you had.
And he just pushes on those little facets of potential.
He believes in every student's personal ability to make a difference.
He pushes us beyond our boundaries, and we create new boundaries, and he pushes us beyond that.
Gosh, I don't know what he saw in me, but he just kept pushing me and said I could do it, and oh my gosh, I did it.
I really could not be where I am today without him.
He's had a major role on my academic success so far.
I wouldn't be here if I hadn't met him.
Thank you, Mr. Britt, for everything. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mr. Britt,
Thank you for being a wonderful teacher.
For all of your support.
for your tireless devotion.
I appreciate you as a teacher.
You brought out the best in us.
Well, without you, all of us would not have been able to obtain the successes we have.
We wouldn't have been able to go after those things that we call dreams.
And that's what makes him a great professor and an overall great human being.
You'll never know how much you're appreciated and how much you're loved.